Good morning. Let's try this again. Good morning. Okay, much better. I don't know about each of you, but I am extremely excited to just be here and to just have an opportunity to do some great fun things here with my scholars here at K-8. At K-8, I should say, at Hidden Oaks K-8. Elementary middle school here this morning. I'm just so excited for having me. So again, to my scholars, I said good morning and thank you for such a warm welcome. I am Dr. Glenda Sheffield. I am the Chief Academic Officer here with the School District of Palm Beach County. So on behalf of my superintendent, whom is not able to be with you this morning because he is have some other obligations, and our board members, again, I bring you greetings from the school district here of Palm Beach County. I am just excited, and I want to, as we get started this morning, I want to just say a very thank you to our special guests and dignitaries that have joined us this morning. And today, I'm also just super proud, as you heard me say. This is an awesome day here at Hidden Oaks, because do you know why, students? Do you know why today is special? Awesome. You all are correct. And I'm just going to say so everyone can hear it. It's extremely exciting because we're not just here in person, but we're also going to be experiencing this in outer space. And exactly, so let's give it up, okay? Not just here in person. Yes, what an experience. What is experience? You know, we're here in person, and we also have many of our colleagues here throughout the district that's joining us in what we call this virtual space. And so again, we're in this outer space as well. So let's wave our hands and say hello to those that are joining us virtually. Awesome. So our district was invited to host a special Space Day event in partnership with the Club of Future and STEM2 Hub. And so today, you're going to learn all about the exciting adventures of space explorations and how you could possibly be a part of this in the future. So students, I want you to listen very carefully, because there are going to be some wonderful opportunities for you to participate and enjoy this experience here this morning. I want you to also to know that you're going to hear from astronauts, you're going to hear from rocket engineers, and the best part, you're going to have an opportunity to create your personal postcard that's actually going to fly into space on the future Blue Origin mission and be returned to you as a keepsake from space. So let's give it up to ourselves already for this adventure. Amazing. So you're going to make sure, students, that you put forth your best efforts today in preparing that postcard that's going to fly out into space and going to be returned to you as a lifelong keepsake. How awesome is that? So again, experience. So take on the challenge and enjoy the opportunities this morning. I also, students, I want to challenge all of you to participate so that we can be that one Florida school district with the most postcards in the new Shepard rocket. How does that sound? Let's give it up. Here, Team Palm Beach, we're going to bring home the challenge, and we're going to beat out all those other districts here in this awesome state of Florida. So let's sit back and get ready for the ride. So before we get started, there are some great partners who are joining us today. So we want to make certain that we show a warm, heartfelt welcome to the great partners that are joining us for this Space Day event here in Palm Beach. I would like to thank again our Blue Aldrin team, the Club for the Future, STEM2 Hub, and we also want to thank our SpaceKids Global, the Aldrin Family Foundation, and Space Florida. Can we give them like a big, big, warm Palm Beach welcome? All right. Let's give them a big, big, warm welcome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I tell you, you guys are just amazing, amazing. And so now what I'm going to do, I am now going to turn it over to Dr. Kathy Schofield with STEM2 Hub, who's going to serve as our MC. And students, I'm going to come down and I'm going to enjoy the fun with you guys. So again, let's welcome Kathy as she comes forward.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for coming here this morning. I don't think I could be any more excited to be here because Space Day is so cool, and the opportunities that exist for you are opportunities that I didn't have when I was in elementary school and junior high school. So today, what I want to do is have you listen to the speakers and hear their stories and learn about their journeys as to how they got to do amazing things with either going to space or working on rockets that will take people into space, because there are so many opportunities for you to dream. And who knows, the dream you have may end up helping everyone on the planet Earth. So as you know, we've got lots of wonderful guests here, and we're very, very excited for the school district letting us come here today. So I want to get things rolling, and our first speaker is Kristen Yip from Club for the Future, and she is going to tell you amazing things. Come on down, Kristen. Let's give her a warm welcome.
Gotta find the right mic. Morning, Hidden Oaks. How y'all doing? Everyone doing good? Hello, everyone on live stream. My name is Kristen. I have a couple questions for you before we get started. First question. Who here knows what an astronaut is? Raise your hand. All right. Keep your hand up if you want to be that person that comes up and tells everyone else in the room and on live stream what an astronaut is. Who wants to share? Okay, here we go. What is an astronaut?
An astronaut is when they're going into space.
Excellent. Yes. Give it up, give it up, give it up. Yeah, astronauts are ones that go up to space. So another question, raise your hand if you want to be someone in the future that helps bring astronauts up into space. All right, fair amount of the room. Now raise your hand if you want to be that astronaut that goes up into space eventually. Hey, look at all these future astronauts. Incredible. That's nice. I mean, I had a dream of being an astronaut, and I hope one day I'll be an astronaut too, but, not all of us, but, it's a good dream. I want to tell you about the space company that I work for. So I work for Blue Origin. We send people to space. And here at Blue Origin, we have a vision, our big dream. And our big dream is that eventually in the future, we are going to have millions of people living and working in space for the benefit of Earth. That's a big dream, right? So that means that we are going to need all of you in the future to help us get to this dream. Right now, Blue Origin is building that road, but really, we need all of you to take up this dream with us, and you be that future, next generation, that takes up that dream and takes it even further, so that one day we could have millions of people living and working in space. So you're probably wondering, okay, well, how are you building that road right now? So we're going to show a quick video about what Blue Origin does, and then we'll continue talking afterwards.
The human need to explore is deep within all of us. Our ancestors crossed mountain ranges, sailed open oceans to map new lands, and sought out the unknown while always looking to the stars. We're curious, and now we're at a place where we can pioneer new horizons. Because Earth, this blue planet and all its beauty, is just our starting place.
It's time
T-minus
to
10,
go again.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, command engine start, 2, 1. And liftoff.
5,000 feet and climbing.
That was a beautiful launch. And there it is, separation.
Now is the time to open the promise of space to all and lay the way for generations to come. When our descendants look to the stars, perhaps from a rocky moon or colonies floating in open space, they'll remember this time. When they reflect on where it started, they'll remember this place.
Touchdown.
And when they honor those first explorers who said, "Let's go," they'll remember these bold steps. We are of Blue Origin, and this is just the beginning.
Yeah. Sorry. Pretty cool, huh? So here at Blue Origin, we are in the space business, and we are building our rockets that go up to space. We have a couple programs that we'd like to tell you about what we do. One of them was that rocket that you saw, that new Shepard. So that is a reusable rocket that goes up into space and then comes back down, and then we can use it over and over again, right? Before, all our rockets, we would use it, and then we couldn't use them again. So we're trying to help Earth by making reusable rockets. Another thing that we do is we have our engines. So we're trying to build better engines so that it can go further and faster, so we can get to space in less time. Well, we have our new Glenn, a giant rocket. So our new Shepard, this one is way bigger than that one. Our new Glenn is being built down the road in Florida, and that rocket is supposed to take us to orbit Earth and then beyond. And then last, we have our new space station. Anyone heard of the International Space Station? Right, so our space station is going to be called Orbital Reef. And that is going to be a little bit different from the International Space Station. We're going to have options for people to work in our orbital reef station. So you can, book an office space and work out of there. Or we're going to do space tourism, where we're going to have people who can go visit space and then come back down. So those are cool programs. And then if we can go to our next slides. This is a picture of our first human flight. We sent up the oldest and the youngest astronauts. I'm going to have you guys guess how old you think our youngest astronaut is. So I'm going to just have you shout out numbers. I'll have 5 seconds for you to shout them out, and then I'm going to count. Hold on. I'm going to count down, right? When I get to 0, I'm going to tell you how old he was, and then we're going to see how many got it right. Ready? Go! All right. How old is I heard lots of 20s. I heard some younger than that. Oliver was our youngest one, and he was 18 years old. How many people got it right? Oh, we got some that hit 18, yeah. I could never imagine at 18 going up into space, but he did it. He went up to space at 18, which means, right, that road is there for you to go up into space. So, that's Blue Origin. I'm going to tell you a little bit now about the program that I work for that's in Blue Origin, and that's Club for the Future. We know right now, okay, yeah, you're a little young, you can't actually work on rockets, you can't actually go to space yet, but you are the perfect age to be our Club for the Future member. And at Club for the Future, we are doing some pretty great things. Our goal is to inspire the next generation to pursue STEM careers. Because like I said before, right, if millions of us are living and working in space, we're gonna need millions of people to help us get there. We're gonna need everyone to help us fulfill this dream. And Club for the Future has 3 programs that helps us do that. Our first one is lessons. So we have lessons that your teachers can download that are space related that they can do with you. You can also do it at home with your parents if you want to also. We have subject matter experts, so we have guest speakers that come out to your schools and talk to you like we are doing today. And then lastly is our postcards to space. So Dr. Sheffield mentioned this earlier. Our postcards to space is really our way of giving you access. So Club for the Future was founded by Jeff Bezos in 2019, and his vision was that everyone on this planet should have access to space. Space shouldn't just be a few people going up and then coming down and then just talking about it. Everyone should have access to it. And so he created this Postcards to Space program so that you all can have something from space. So what you're gonna get today is a blank postcard. On one side, on the blank side, you're gonna write or draw your dream in space, right? So that could be, oh, one day I want to do this in space, or my dream career is this and I'm going to do that in space, or why do we need space and why does that help Earth, right? So anything you want on one side, and on the other side you're going to write your address, because we're going to send this up on our new Shepard rocket. So the new Shepard was the one you saw in that video. It's going to go up to space, and then it's going to come back down. And then we're going to stamp your postcard that says, flown in space. And we're going to mail it back to every single one of you, which means you're going to have something in your hand from now on that has been to space. Because really, how many of us have anything that's been up to space, right? So this is your own thing to bring up to space, and it'll come back to you. So every single one of you will get this today. Exciting? Yeah. Who's going to do a postcard? Yeah. Pretty cool. All right. So why did we do Club for the Future? Again, it's to inspire you to take up this mission, for you to build that road, right? Blue Origin is making that pathway right now, but we can't do it in one generation. We're gonna need multiple generations to help us with this. So we're gonna build that road, but we need you to take up that road and then take it even further. Do what you want with it. You're the next generation. You get to decide how we do space and how we do it well to benefit Earth, right? So now you're like, okay, well, I don't know if I really want to work in space. I don't know if I really want to work in a space company. I don't even know what I would do. Well, that's why I brought my colleague. He works down here in Florida. He builds rockets. So I want you to give a warm welcome and really listen to his story, because really, this could be you in the future. You could be a real-life rocket maker. But before we bring him on, I need you to give him a warm welcome. And how we're going to do this is you're going to chant with me here. Are you ready to chant with me? Okay. His name is Devante. So we're going to go. Devante, 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 Devante. Woo!
That's awesome. Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Devante Robinson, and I am a manufacturing engineer working for Blue Origin right up the street. How you guys doing this morning? Hello to the on-site crew as well. So, a little bit about myself. My name is Devante Robinson. I'm born and raised in Miami, Florida, which is not too far away from you guys here. I pretty much started off as a little kid, going outside, playing sports, playing video games all night. Anybody like to play sports? Anybody like video games? See, you guys got more in common with me than you think, right? So, you know, as a kid, I also like to fix things with my hands, whether it's fixing my bike, fixing on computers, fixing on anything around the house. And that kind of sort of just catapulted me into engineering. So my dad is also an engineer, and that also groomed me to figure out, like, hey, when I get older and want to go to college, I want to major in engineering. How many people want to go to college? Nice. You guys don't want to go to college? No? Well, hopefully at the end of this presentation that changes your mind. Okay, so when I went to college, I went to Georgia Southern University, which is in South Georgia, probably 45 minutes from Savannah, Georgia, and I majored in engineering. Was it hard? Yes, it was really hard. And I also played football in school too, so I had to play football, come home, study, play football, come home, study, and, you know, did it over and over till I got my degree. And then once I was done with my degree, I went and worked for NASA. So my first job was working for NASA in New Orleans at the Michoud plant, where we worked on the big SLS rocket that launched a couple months ago. After that, spent some time there, came over to Blue Origin a couple years ago, and I've been here ever since. So building a rocket is nothing new. We've been building them for a long time. The difficult thing is now is landing them. And we need you guys all focused on STEM education to be able to start building rockets bigger and faster so we can get people living and breathing and working in space. Right? Right? Awesome. Okay, well, we'll take questions at the end. But as again, my name is Devante Robinson. And guys, biggest thing I want to leave you guys with is whatever you want to do in life, just do it. Just make sure you got a plan for it, and just make sure that it's really what you want to do. I can't tell you how important it is to be passionate about what you do, really going to work and enjoying what you do, to be able to see the things that you have worked really hard to learn and do come to fruition, and also be able to, for me to come here and speak to you guys, this is a big deal for me as well. So guys, just stay passionate, just stay keeping school and your schoolwork as your priority, and everything will work out in the end. Got me? All right.
Good job, thanks. Well, let's give it up for Devante. Devante's living my dream. I would love to be working on rockets. I think it's the coolest thing that a person could possibly do. And I remember when I was growing up, my dad would commute. I lived in New Jersey. My dad would commute to New York to work, and then he would come home every day. Well, could you imagine if your dad went to space? Wow. Well, I don't think I could be any more thrilled than to tell you we have a very special guest here today. Dr. Andy Aldrin is here. Come on down the red carpet. And Dr. Aldrin is the president of the Aldrin Family Foundation, and he also runs the program at Embry-Riddle University. Who's heard of Embry-Riddle? Okay, well, if you haven't now, you will soon. He works as the director and president of the foundation, and his job is to inspire you to get interested in space, to study STEM, and help empower you to have a career like Devante. So let's give another warm welcome to Dr. Aldrin.
Thanks, Kathy. I actually have a special guest that I'd like to introduce you to.
Here we go. Oh, he's going to fall over.
So, does anybody know who this is? Not just any astronaut. Do you know what his name is? Buzz Aldrin. Awesome. No, it's not. I call him Dad. Hey, Dad. So, you know what? You can go now. I'm done with you. I think he's going to collapse. It's not good for him. He's got a bad back. So, yeah, I grew up with a space cadet. Do we have charts? Okay, let's start. So, when I grew up, I grew up in a neighborhood where everyone, not everyone, but almost everyone was an astronaut or somehow involved in space. We lived at the end of a street, and so there were 5 houses behind our house. 3 of those houses were astronauts' kids. You couldn't throw a water balloon into a class without getting an astronaut's kid wet. I'm not kidding you, but it was normal. Go back. Backward. Okay. So I did stuff that normal kids do, that you do. So, like, read in the paper on the front lawn. Actually, talking with our neighbors. This was a press conference. That was kind of cool. And, of course, there was taking Dad's car out for a drive. This is the lunar module, a simulator of the lunar module. And so one of the coolest things I ever got to do was crash. Yeah, we crashed into the moon. Which was kind of fun. We didn't know it until later. Nothing's working. They said, yeah, you just crashed into the moon. And then, of course, there is Dad takes his kids to work, and that's me and Dad at work. But mostly what I did is this. So this is my mom. I don't know if you can see. She is not very happy with me. I'm in trouble. I have no idea what I did, but I'm in trouble. The point is, I grew up in an incredible time, but in some ways it was kind of normal. So this next chart is not going to work well, but anyway. So hold on for just 1 second. So lots of people know about my dad and are proud of my father for going to the moon and being the first person to land on the moon. Actually, his side of the spacecraft touched down first, he told me. So he technically was the first person to land on the moon. Next chart. But I was proud of my dad because he could pole vault, which was incredibly cool. I cannot pole vault. I did not inherit that from him. Okay, let's go to the next chart. Next chart. So when my dad was on the moon, he's walking around on the moon, and he's actually kind of bouncing. And I'm convinced that he's going to do what every dad does. By the way, anyone in here 11 years old? Awesome. I was 11 years old and my dad was on the moon. So you're 11 years old. What is your dad's primary job in life? It's to embarrass you, right? No? That was my dad's job. Well, no matter what it was, he was going to do something to embarrass me. And so he's on the moon, bouncing around in front of 300 million people. 300 million people. But most importantly, in front of my 50 classmates. Yeah, in the 5th grade, yeah. That too many? 20? No, I think we actually had and there was more than one class, but the whole 5th grade was 50 kids. Yeah, so, yeah, we had it tough then. Anyway, I was afraid he was going to fall flat on his face in front of my classmates. Thankfully, he did not. Now, so when I grew up, let's have the next chart, please. It was a pretty amazing time. Things changed over time. This is actually me, and that's my dad there. Sometimes you look at that picture and you can say, my dad is saying something that I'm not buying. Whatever it is, I'm not buying it. So things have changed a lot. Now, when my dad went to the moon, there were, as I said, 300 million people watching. About 400,000 people actually worked on getting him to the moon, and 3 people went to the moon. Everyone was watching. What's different about space for all of you, as Christian was telling you, there are going to be millions of people living and working in space. You are all growing up in the most amazing time that you are going to have the opportunity to participate in space. And that's something that's incredible, and it's different. It's different from when I grew up. Next chart. So, the future of space is not your father's space program. It's not my father's space program. It is your space program. Next chart. You are going to be able to do things that are just truly incredible. We have kids that are a little bit older than you, not much, maybe a couple of years older. We're talking 7th, 8th grades, that are building satellites that are going to fly in space. I am not kidding you. You're looking at me like, wow, yes, they're doing it. These kids are building satellites. That is awesome. You are going to have the opportunity not just to build satellites, you're going to have the opportunity to live and work in space. When you grow up, you will have the opportunity to go to the moon. You will have the opportunity to apply for jobs on the moon, not as an astronaut, but as someone who is working to repair robots, I had a kid come up to me and say, I want to be a barista on the moon. There will be baristas on the moon. And that's a pretty cool place to be a barista if you think about it. It's true. You are going to have that opportunity. You're going to have the opportunity to fly in space. Christian was telling you about millions of people living and working in space. Those millions of people are you. One of you. You're just about the right age. One of you could be the first person to set foot on Mars. What are you going to say? Coca-Cola? You might. It's entirely possible it could be a commercial venture. But think about it. You will witness the first people setting foot on Mars. You are at the right age to do that. You have the ability, you will be able to go to the moon and work on the moon. That is so much cooler than just having a dad who went to the moon. So you are the luckiest generation that there is, and I just really want to encourage you to find your place in space. So, I want to thank you all for your time, and this is your space now, right? It's not just for astronauts anymore. Should I introduce you? Okay. Oh, okay.
All done. Okay.
Is introduce a very, very special guest. We talked about having a dad go to the moon, working to bring people, building the rockets. We have an astronaut in the room. I am so excited to introduce Sharon Hagle with SpaceKids Global. Come on down and let's give Sharon an incredibly warm welcome. She has been to space. And earlier, Kristen mentioned the new Shepard rocket. The new Shepard rocket takes people and your postcards on an incredible journey for 11 minutes up over the Kármán line and into space. And so far, Blue Origin has flown 22 successful missions. And it took a lot of people to make that happen. And we have real stories from Sharon Hagle about what that journey was like. So I'd love to introduce you now to talk to the children.
And we have a video real quick. We have a
Oh,
video.
yes, thank you.
Yep. So we'll play videos. We'll play video.
Going to space has been a lifelong dream. I remember when I was a little kid watching spaceships go up here in Central Florida. The rockets were so big and massive, and when they took off at Kennedy Space Center, the ground actually shook in Orlando. When John Kennedy said, let's put a man on the moon in 1961, I watched those rockets go up, and that's when I first started thinking I really wanted to do that.
I never thought I would go to space. I mean, I was a little girl in West Virginia listening to Shepard on a PA system become the first American to go in space in 1961. Little did I realize that all these years later that I would have the opportunity to go to space on a rocket named after him. We're excited to be the first married couple to go up to space on a commercial flight.
Who would you want to share it with other than someone that you love and respect so much?
We've been training for this.
We've done zero gravity flights, we've done high gravity training. We went to Russia and we trained with the Russian cosmonauts on the International Space Station.
Sharon and I are very fortunate to be able to follow our dreams and to go into space.
This is incredible!
We hope that sharing our story inspires students today to do the same one day.
I'm hoping that they're looking at that rocket and thinking, that's gonna be me. Our mission at SpaceKids Global is to inspire elementary school kids in STEAM education, plus environment, ensuring that girls are equally represented in space. SpaceKids Global is partnering with Club for the Future, so students have an opportunity to participate in the Postcards to Space program. This creates a powerful, tangible connection to perhaps one day living off Earth themselves. Last year, we sent 21 science projects on a national science competition to the ISS. We're doing a national essay competition right now. Kids between the ages of 8 and 12 can write an essay, and 2 kids will win a free trip on zero gravity to fly like an astronaut. Nothing makes me happier than walking into a classroom and seeing the kids' eyes light up. Saba is our perfect space ambassador. He's a 5-pound Pomeranian and he loves space and kids. Students love seeing him in his flight suit. I think we're on the edge of a new generation, a new frontier. People used to think the future in space was a long way away, but the future is here now. Students today have an opportunity to live and work off planet. SpaceKids Global wants to help them prepare for that. We're now talking to school superintendents across the country as we want to bring our program to students everywhere. What we're doing is letting students become participators, not spectators, and making learning fun again. That's the difference.
Let's give another warm welcome to Sharon Hagle from SpaceKids Global.
Well, good morning. Thank you. Thank you for inviting us here. Saba and I are thrilled to be here, both here in person and to all you people that are listening online. Saba is our little mini astronaut, and he's been adopted by Blue Origin. When we arrived at Astronaut Village, he was there with us all the way. When we had our flight suits, he got his. When we did our portraits, he got his. Even when we went to makeup, he sat in the chair and got powdered, as well as being there at lunchtime. So he's so excited to be here too, and we're so excited to be able to represent everyone. Who wants to live on the moon? Come on. Who wants to live on Mars? Yes, because that's what it's going to be like in the future. Space is for everyone, and we're going to need builders and farmers and doctors and chefs, and most importantly, we're going to need teachers. So out of the 8 billion people on this planet, from the history of space exploration, I am excited to share with you that I was the 599th person to cross over the Kármán line. And my husband was 600, and I was the 72nd woman to cross over the Kármán line. That just means we need more girls in the program, ladies. So you heard about all my training. Who likes to study? That's good, because you're going to have a lot of studying to do if you're going to go up into space. We had 4 days of training starting at 5 a.m. in the morning until about 5 or 6 p.m. at night. Yeah, and we did it over and over and over again. I tell the kids that it took us 3.5 days to learn how to buckle a seatbelt. Can you imagine that? Now, before you think I'm really dumb, it's a 5-point seatbelt, and there's a certain way you have to lock in. But everybody wants to know, what was it like? So I want to tell you what it's all about. So first of all, as you're climbing the tower, how many have you watched launches with Blue Origin? Yeah, well, you know what? Now it's people like you and me that are going up. People that have regular jobs, teachers. We had a person who owned a yachting company, one of the astronauts that went up. Space is for everyone. So as you're starting up the tower, the helicopters are circling, the drones are loud, you hear all this, and then you think, oh my gosh, there's so much activity out here. Once we get into the capsule, then you sit there for a while before the launch. And then as the countdown starts, 3, 2, 1. We were screaming in the capsule, go, go, go. We were so excited to be part of the early program. So as you hear the engines ignite, you hear this roaring of the engines. Then your seat starts to rumble. The entire ceiling of the capsule turns bright red and orange. They tell us in training that that's normal because it's a reflection of the engines igniting. Then have you ever noticed how on the launch pad, after they ignite the engines, it seems like it sits there for a while? Well, that's what we thought. Is it going to get off the ground? And then all of a sudden, it starts very slowly, and then, bam! You feel the thrust, and you feel the G-force on your body. And as you look out the window, you see the ground falling behind so quickly. And then the sky changes. It goes from a blue to a light blue to a white. And then what? Pitch black. And as you're going up, the capsule turns a little and tilts 2 degrees. What does that do to you? Well, I was in seat 5, and what that did is it put me on the top at a tilt, which, the painter dolly? It felt like that. The G-forces were pulling my face down just for a few seconds, and then the brightest light you have ever seen, blinding for about 3 seconds, which was the sun. Once we got up there, and we took our crew shot, which is where we're floating in air, and I know you guys didn't like the space kiss, but it's probably the first legal kiss up there. So my husband and I, Richard Branson, told us if I had it to do again, I would just hang by the window. And that's exactly what we did. That view is priceless. As we're hanging on the window looking down, we see how fragile and small the Earth is. And if you look out, guess what? It's black. It's the blackest black you've ever seen. There's no stars. There's no light reflection. It's black. So they tell us, they give us a 1-minute warning, and we get back into the capsule. And one of the things I wanted to share with you that not very many people know is that when you're on the launch pad, there is a certain number, and it's 2 minutes and 39 seconds. Remember that. Up to that point, when you're in the capsule, you can ask for a timeout, which they'll stop the clock, and you can get up and walk around and get situated again. Or, up until 2 minutes and 39 seconds, you can say, I want out. And they'll stop the clock, they'll escort you off the capsule, and then what do you think they do next? There were 6 people going on, now there's only 5. And we're all balanced. Oh, worst thing about space travel? You get weighed every week. It really is a great diet plan. So what did they do? How did they solve that problem? They actually bring in sandbags that are your weight, and they strap them into the seat, and then they'll go ahead with the launch. So now that we've done our zero gravity, we're headed back to Earth, and you're like, oh my gosh, now the ground's coming up really close. You're just like free falling. And you've seen the parachutes when they come out. That sounds like a rumble of an anchor being thrown out a boat. And you go, okay, we're gonna slow down. And then we land, we're back on Earth. Have you ever realized that they don't open the hatch right after we land? Why do you think that? Why don't they open the hatch? That's good. It's pressure. Yes? Low gravity, that's a good one too. The reason they don't open the hatch, and that was because of our founder, Jeff Bezos, is that you have just had the opportunity to be one person to share in this experience of a lifetime. And it is the most emotional and spiritual journey I have ever taken. So all of us are kind of overwhelmed. Some of us are crying, and they're not allowed to open that hatch until we give them the thumbs up. And that means everybody's ready to meet the media frenzy. And boy, were they a lot. So I want you to be thinking about today as we talk about space. And by the way, what a great stage. You guys are good. You've been working at this. And out front, I think we have a lot of astronauts and engineers and other occupations here. That's the one thing I've learned talking to kids. Kids think the only job, not you guys, is an astronaut. And that's not true. Space is for everyone. And that's what SpaceKids wants to do, is bring the possibility of space to kids everywhere, just like you. So I want you to be thinking today, what is your mission? How can you make the world a better place? And how can you make a difference in the world? So I have one more thing that I want to share. And teachers, will you help me? This is our mission patch. Each crew has their own mission patch. And it's designed with all kinds of little hidden mystery items in there. You can get a full detail on our website, and it goes into all the different meanings behind the patch. So from now on, when you see a crew mission patch, start researching what each of these symbols mean. So I'm going to ask a question. Teachers, help me. Something that I've said here. This mission patch is ours, NS-20, called the Roaring 20s. That's because we were the 20th flight and we had 6 people on board. It flew to space. What time is it that you cannot say I went off or a timeout? What was the T minus what? Which one?
I saw this young man right here. What was the time? 2 minutes and 30.
Bingo, 2 minutes and 39 seconds. This has flown to space. Congratulations. Good job. So thank you. I'm so excited to share my story. I will have another one coming up. I can now announce that my husband and I are going back into space. We've been assigned a mission and a crew. So I look forward to seeing you guys in space.
Oh my goodness, Mrs. Hagle. Thank you so much for sharing that inspirational story and for giving us all here this amazing news that you're getting to go again. That's incredible. And you know, these stories we heard have been so inspirational, and I'm inspired every time I hear you speak. But today we have a group of students from Mr. Monroe's STEAM Club, and they are also doing incredible things that are getting them ready to possibly be an astronaut or one of the people who live and work in space. So we'd like to bring up Mr. Monroe's STEAM Club so that we can tell a little about your program and recognize you with a special gift from Club for the Future. Today you're going to be receiving not only a Club for the Future bag, but just like the postcards fly into space and Ms. Hagle has flown into space, these wings this feather has flown into space as well. And we're going to present that to you today.
We just want to recognize it all. Whoops, we'll let Miss Kathy. Is somebody going to go?
So, Mr. Monroe's students, would a couple of you like to tell us a little bit about what you do in your STEAM Club?
We do many projects and assignments for him.
What kind? Can you tell us about one?
Today I think we're doing stepping rockets or kicking rockets where they go up and you step and they go up.
Oh, wow. Devante, I see people who might want to be following your path, making rockets and getting them into space. Who else would like to share? Yes, sir.
We also made a Mars colonization project where we made a model of, what a base on Mars would look like.
Wow, my gosh, that's inspirational. Just like Dr. Aldrin was talking about, one of you may be that first person to land on Mars. Wow. One more. Who would like to share? Yes, sir.
As the previous two mentioned, we do a lot of projects and assignments, not only just on the few planets we're looking into, but on the solar system and the galaxy itself. So we had to do travel brochures on the solar system, learning about different features and different planets and objects in the solar system.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Oh my gosh, I'm even more inspired. And what these children did not tell you is they are earning industry certifications that open up the doors to jobs. And who knows, maybe you'll end up working at Blue Origin or in the space program. They also all are learning to code. They've done robotics. They're doing amazing things in the STEAM class. So for the younger ones, you can look up to all of these students as a model for what's possible for you. So now, Mrs. Hagle, would you join me back on the stage and let's recognize these students with their bag and their feather that has been flown in space.
Congratulations. Keep up the good work. We need more women. Thank you. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you very
Great
much.
work. Fantastic work. Congratulations. Back for you. Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations. Keep up the good work.
Very quickly. Very nice.
Yes, yours are going to be sent to you. Okay. Yes, and you guys will be getting yours, and you'll be getting your bag as well. And now we'll take a... Again, congratulations, boys and girls. Okay, and now you guys may return down to your seats. And it is time to turn it over to the students. It is time for questions and answers. So I do believe we have some people who are going to be asking some questions.
We each get one and we'll pass it?
We'll pass it, yes. And I guess I'll take it first and then, okay. All right, I think we're ready for our first question.
Test, 1, 2.
1, 2.
Okay, great.
Speak up.
Dylan Torano in 5th grade. Dylan. Boca Raton High. What advice would you have for students struggling to figure out next steps after high school?
What a great question. Who'd like to take that one? Devante, how about you?
Sure. So first, the question is, what will people like to do, figuring out what's next after high school? Ask other people around you. Ask your teachers. The biggest thing is figuring out what your skill set is and figuring out what type of jobs apply to that. So if you're good in math, you're good in science, you're good in reading, you're good in writing, take that little bit and then figure out what can you build on in college with that little bit of skill set. And then that usually opens up a ballpark of different degrees that you can major in the school.
Thank you, great answer and great question. Who's next?
I'm in Ms. Kesselman's class, Hinoke Elementary, 3rd grade. My question is, what is your favorite area of STEAM and how do you use that in your job?
Oh, what a great question. Dr. Aldrin, could we give that one to you?
What is my favorite area of STEAM? So I think the most important part of education, whether it's STEAM, whether it's literature, whether it's engineering, is understanding the right question. We spend so much time in our life looking for answers and having the right answers, but if you're not asking the right question, you're never going to get the right answer.
That's fabulous advice. Thank you.
My name's Michelle, and I'm in Miss Stevens' class in 2nd grade. What do you consider as the biggest challenge for the future of space exploration?
Oh, that sounds like a perfect question for you, Mrs. Hagle.
Thank you. That's a very good question. And I think the key to all this is educating kids and getting them excited at this age where you really want to learn. You have the curiosity and the imagination. And it's going to be kids like you that are going to be off planet. So thank you for the question.
Thank you. Who's got another question?
I'm from Miss Gottlieb's class, 5th grade. My name's Yara. And what happens if you get sick in space?
Oh my goodness. Mrs. Hagle, could I ask you that again? Because you're the only one who's been to space up here.
That's a good question. Fortunately, I've had a lot of training, so that's not a problem for me, but we did have several crew members that had a problem. And I will tell you, we all have barf bags. So it's a question of when you might get sick, whether it's on the way on the launch up, and zero gravity is a totally different thing. And I'd hate to have to go around and catch that. But no, most of us don't get sick. But interestingly enough, did you know we have to eat breakfast before the launch? We have to have food in our stomachs. So that was a good question.
That's very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Mariah, and I'm from Miss Weinstein's class, and I'm in 3rd grade. What is the hardest thing to do in school?
Oh, Kristen, could I ask you that question?
Wow, hardest thing in school. I mean, we all know school is very difficult for all of us. I think the hardest thing to do is persevere, right? So it's when things are difficult, it's working harder and trying to get over it and making sure we practice things and get to a point where it's not hard anymore, right? That's the hardest part, I think.
That's a great answer. Thank you for sharing. Yes, sir.
Just talk right in here. What's your name?
Kendry.
What grade are you in?
Kindergarten.
Okay, what's your question?
How do we go in space?
How do you go in space?
How do you float?
Oh, how do you float in space?
Oh, how do you float in space? Great question. Who would like that one? Sharon, would you like to tell us about
we know
that?
that's done it.
Well, how many of you guys have done 0G?
I have not.
We've got to get you up. Floating in space is like you weigh nothing. And with the 0G training, we have 3 different cycles of training. One's lunar, one's Mars, and one's 0. You know, you move very slowly, and that's exactly the way it is in the capsule. You cannot sit in your chair like you do here on Earth, because if you sat down, you'd be on the other side of the capsule, because you don't weigh anything. So there's a certain procedure that you have to get into. So just imagine yourself light as a feather, no pun intended, and just floating in the air. And that's 0 gravity.
My gosh, I can't even imagine. That sounds incredible. What a wonderful question. Thank you. And go ahead.
My name's Melina. I'm in 4th grade. And my question is, what kind of classes and degrees are good to one day become an astronaut?
Oh, great question. Yes. Who would like that? Okay. But would you like to answer that? Okay. Fabulous.
In order to become an astronaut, I mean, I think at this point, you can be any kind of major that you want. It depends on what kind of astronaut you want to be too. So if you want to be one that does like research up in space, so maybe one of the STEM ones would help you. But at this point, when we're trying to get millions of people living and working in space, we're really going to need all careers. And honestly, at Blue Origin, we have every single job that you can think of. We have lawyers, we have accountants, we have any job imaginable. So I would just say follow your dream. Just work hard and make sure you're doing something that you love to do.
What a great answer, because any job you could have here on Earth, we're going to need all those jobs in space, and jobs that haven't even been thought about yet. So you can use your imagination and dream the job you would want to do in space and follow your school pathway to get you there. We have one more question.
This one comes from Marizelli Lucina's class in Discovery Key Elementary. What is the most difficult part of going into space?
Well, Mrs. Hagle, I'm going to ask you, and then Dr. Aldrin will let you wrap up as the son of someone watching your dad go into space. So you're going to get 2 answers.
That's an interesting question. You know, it's from the acceptance, how you have to prepare your mind that you're going into space. You know, when my husband and I first signed up for space, it was 16 years ago. It was in 2007. So, you know, you need to dream big and never give up. I think the most difficult part was weighing in, getting your mindset. I thought I would be nervous and apprehensive, but the training at Blue Origin is so intensive that it's just memory cell. So I think the most difficult part is just to relax and enjoy the ride.
What's difficult? Just have fun. I mean, enjoy it. I think the most important thing is following your passion. And so it shouldn't be difficult to go into space. It should just be fun.
Thank you so much. Those were great, great answers. And students, give yourselves a round of applause. Absolutely.
Just one last thing before we adjourn. I want to talk a little bit about this postcard to space campaign for Blue Origin. The state of Florida has been challenged by Jeff Bezos to be the first state to fill 1 million postcards that launch to space. So please fill out these postcards. You can send as many as you want. It's for kids 3 years old to 105. Have your parents, have your grandparents, have your entire family join in the fun. Thank you.
Thank you. And then you can have an artifact from space, which is so cool. At this time, I would like to bring up our principal. Let's give her a big round of applause. Thank you.
I loved it.
And something we like to do is we hope you'll make many postcards now and into the future, but we'd like to leave a little remembrance with you for the day. So our club ambassador would like to present you with this gift.